Hello, it's Tuesday the 27th of October 2020, and now that we have all reached the half-term break safely, I thought it would be a good time to update you on the current situation regarding the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on school, and also to review with you the measures that we are taking to keep the school as secure as possible from the spread of infection, and how we need to plan for the next half-term. First of all, I want to acknowledge the tremendous response from our students, your sons, to the measures that we have had to put in place to keep school safe. Pretty much every single student has been following the one-way system and following our hygiene routines and our face mask policy sensibly and maturely. The boys really understand how important these measures are to keep ourselves safe, to keep our families safe, and to keep our community safe. Now I'd like to thank you as parents and carers for the excellent work you have done to help your sons understand the importance of following the school and the public health guidelines, and for preparing them so well for the changes that were needed in September. We can feel very proud of our school, so please keep it up after half term, remembering the very clear message of hands, regular hygiene, face, wearing face masks in public spaces, and space, maintaining a distance of 2 meters plus from each other as much as is possible. I would also like to thank the school staff for the outstanding work that they have done this half term to support all the boys to stay safe, often in very difficult circumstances because of poor weather and the demands of teaching. Not only have the staff maintained exceptionally high standards of COVID security, but admirably, they have not allowed that to compromise their equally high standards of teaching and learning, staying true to the judgment of outstanding that was awarded to the school by Ofsted in January of this year. Now, as you know, there have been a few cases of positive COVID tests in school this term, and as a number of students and staff have been required to self-isolate and work remotely from time to time. Since September, there have been 5 members of staff who contracted the virus and 7 students. I'm pleased to say that no cases so far have resulted in serious illness, and we all hope that this remains the case. Looking ahead, however, it is really important for us to remember that this virus remains very dangerous for older and more vulnerable members of our families and the community, and that it is therefore extremely important that we maintain our current security measures into November and December. Indeed, it will be necessary to develop those measures a bit further, and I'll speak about that in just a moment. We're all aware that nationally and here in Luton, the number of community cases is rising again. And as the weather turns colder and we all spend more time indoors, the potential for the spread of infection increases. So we must double down on our hands, face, space routines to make sure this does not lead to an increase in cases in school. And one area that we must improve is to make sure that students, especially the younger students in years 7, 8 and 9, do not congregate in large groups in the playground. We must remind them to keep a healthy distance from each other, just as the older students in years 10 and 11 are already doing. To support this, after half term, we are introducing a rule of 6 for students when they're outside during lunch and break times. This means that students must not gather in groups of more than 6. This is a very important measure to maintain social distancing as much as possible. So please do explain this to your son, and do remind him that if members of staff ask him to separate from a larger group, he must do so cooperatively for the safety of all of us. This rule must apply in the playground at lunchtime and at break time, and also outside the school and on the way home at the end of the day. In the mornings, students should continue to line up in a single file so that they are not facing each other when they are waiting for the school gates to open. They have already been doing this extremely well, so please do tell them to keep it up. The younger students must also continue to line up in a single file so that they are not facing each other at the end of lunch and break as they are waiting to come back into school. Please could you also continue to make sure that your son brings a clean, reusable face mask to school every day. As much as possible, avoid giving him a single-use mask, but make sure he has a reusable one which is washed daily. So, to summarise, after half term, please remind your son that he must not gather in groups of more than 6 outside, that he must come to school every day with a clean, reusable face mask, that he must wear his mask when in public indoor spaces in the school, making sure that it covers both his mouth and his nose properly, that he must continue to follow the school's hygiene regimes, sanitising his hands regularly throughout the day and helping to keep the classroom surfaces clean. That he must walk through the corridors sensibly, not bunching, and following the one-way system. That if he is required to self-isolate, he must engage with his schoolwork on a computer every day through Google Classroom. And, as I said earlier, the students have followed these routines exceptionally well since September, and that has been a major factor in keeping the number of positive cases in school relatively low. These measures are really important so that we can all look after each other and keep each other safe. So please make sure your son understands this. And remember, if he or anyone else in your family becomes symptomatic or tests positive, he must stay at home and you must let the school know. Together, we will continue to protect each other, and we will protect our children's and our young people's education. So enjoy the rest of the half-term break, and thank you for listening.